Have you ever felt that something in your life simply doesn't fit? As if you were living inside a story, written by someone else? As if everything you do, everything that happens to you, had already been planned. And yet, nobody told you. Nobody explained the rules. You were just born, you forgot, and you began to obey. For as long as you can remember, you were taught to look outward, to seek approval, to collect degrees, to become somebody. They educated you to compete. They rewarded you for fitting in. And they punished every spark of strangeness, every intuition that whispered from the depths of your chest. This isn't all there is. But what if I told you that you chose all of this? Yes, you before you were born. And no, I'm not talking about destiny, nor some comforting fantasy. I'm talking about something much deeper, something that's been silenced, suppressed, ridiculed. Because if you remembered it, if we all remembered it, the world as we know it would collapse. Get ready, because what you are about to hear is not a story, it's a reminder. It all began long before your first breath, before you had a body, a name, a nationality, or surnames, in a place that isn't in space or time, a place that the ancients called the realm of the soul, a plane of pure consciousness, where the true, eternal, unmasked you still remembers. There are no clocks there, no politics, no economy. Only vibration exists, and in that vibration, there is purpose. From that place, you chose everything. Yes, you chose your parents. You chose your wounds, your losses. You even chose the people who would break your heart, not out of masochism, but for evolution. Your soul did not come seeking comfort. It came to expand, to pierce the oblivion in order to rediscover itself. And the most striking thing is this: nothing in your life is random. Not that trauma that still hurts. Not that impossible love you could never forget. Not that intuition that sometimes quietly tells you, I've lived this before. Because you have. In Tibetan texts, it's called the bardo. In Hermetic writings, the plane of causation. In Gnosis, the pleroma. Different names for the same place, the threshold between worlds, where the soul designs the map of its next incarnation. There, you review your past lives. You feel the consequences of what you did. And you understand, with absolute clarity, what you still have to learn. But you are not alone. You never were. You gather with your soul group. Yes, those souls who have been with you in other lives. Parents, children, enemies, lovers. Everyone shows up. And together, you design a play. The play of your life. One will be the one who abandons you. Another, the one who saves you. One will come to teach you to let go. And another, to remind you who you are. But then comes the hardest moment. Accepting the veil of forgetting. Because if you remembered everything you agreed to, what merit would the game have? How would you learn to forgive if you knew that the one who betrayed you loves you on another plane? How would you choose love if you knew from the start that everything was planned? So you forget, and you are born, and you cry. And from that moment begins the great test, a life without memories, but with signs. Have you felt them? That feeling of déjà vu? That dream that seemed more real than waking life? That gaze in which you get lost as if you had returned home? It's your soul speaking through the veil. But there is more, something unsettling. This knowledge has been among us since always. The ancient sages knew it. The mystics taught it in whispers. And yet, it was hidden. They burned the books. They censored the words. They silenced those who dared to remember it. Why? Because an awakened humanity is a humanity impossible to control. If you knew you chose your pain, you would stop blaming. If you understood that you designed your path, you would stop fearing. And if you remembered that within you lives a divine spark, what power would governments, religions, or banks have over you? None. And that doesn't suit them. School taught us dates. It never spoke to us of the soul. They talked to us about success, about achievements, about competition. They never spoke of purpose. And yet, it was there, waiting to be remembered, whispering in your darkest nights, shouting in your moments of emptiness. Wake up, because you are not your wounds, you are not your mistakes, you're not even your name. You are the screenwriter of your existence, and you are here for a reason. But how do you find purpose if you have forgotten everything? That's where intuition comes in. That invisible compass that pushes you without logic. Have you felt it? When something inside you says, "This is the way," even though no one else understands. When you leave something that seemed secure because your soul could no longer bear it. When you sense that a place or a person vibrates with you for no apparent reason. That is not chance. It is spiritual memory. Your soul remembering. Your plan returning to you. And there's still more. What we call spiritual awakening is not a trend. It's a process that can no longer be stopped. More and more people are remembering. They feel it in the eyes of a stranger, in a book that arrives unbidden, in a crisis that, although painful, breaks them in order to rebuild them. We stand on the threshold of a new collective stage, an age of the soul, where true knowledge will not come from outside, but from within. And those who understand it, those who dare to look beyond the veil, will be the pioneers of a different humanity, a free humanity, authentic, conscious. But there remains one question. If you chose everything, even the pain, why does it hurt so much? Because knowing there is a purpose doesn't eliminate suffering, but it transforms it. It's no longer punishment. It's a lesson. It's no longer injustice. It's evolution. It's no longer absurd. It's part of the journey. And here is where true freedom begins. When you stop seeing your life as a succession of blows and begin to see it as a work of art, created by you, for you, from you. Then everything changes. Anger becomes understanding. Fear turns into courage. Loss into openness. And most importantly, you remember who you are. And now tell me, do you really believe you are here by chance? Or do you feel deep down that this was exactly what you needed to hear? It wasn't the algorithm. It wasn't an accident. It was your soul guiding you again back to you. If all of this resonates with you, don't ignore it. It's the echo of a truth you've carried for centuries forgetting. And today, it has begun to awaken. Now you have a choice. Go back to sleep, or dare to remember. Because life isn't happening to you. You are creating it, since before you were born. But there's still more, much more than they've told you. Because if you were the one who designed your life, what about the signs you receive while you sleep? What happens in that parallel universe we call dream? Are they just meaningless images or fragments of a reality your waking mind cannot decipher? Think about it. During dreams, you have no name, no body, no age, yet you feel, react, choose. Sometimes you even know you're dreaming. Other times, you dream of places you've never visited, of people you've never met in this life, yet they feel familiar. Why? Because according to ancient teachings, the soul travels during sleep. It partially detaches from the body and returns for a few hours to that plane where one remembers. the realm of the soul. There, they say, instructions are received, lessons are reviewed, pacts are revisited, and upon waking, that memory dissolves, but it leaves traces. Have you never dreamed something so intense that it woke you in tears, or with your heart pounding as if you'd just escaped another dimension? It wasn't just a dream, it was a visit, a reunion, a message, perhaps even a dress rehearsal for what was to come. Dreams are one of the few channels the soul retains to remind you why you came, but only if you are willing to listen. Most ignore them. They dismiss them, because we've been trained to distrust the invisible, to doubt what cannot be measured. And yet, the invisible is the most real thing that exists. And what happens when the soul disconnects completely from its purpose? What happens when you forget not only your plan, but even your essence? Symptoms appear, but not of the body, of the soul. The void. That feeling that nothing makes sense. Neither work, nor relationships, nor accomplishments. Chronic fatigue that sleep doesn't cure. Apathy that vacations don't fix. Anxiety arising for no apparent reason. That sense that you don't belong here, and that something inside you yearns to go home, even though you don't know where it is. That's not weakness. It's not depression. It's spiritual disconnection. It's your soul screaming from within that you have strayed from your path. And if you don't heed it, the soul begins to push harder. Relationships break. You lose jobs, crises arise, and the chaos forces you to look inward. Because if you don't listen to the whispers of the soul, you'll end up facing its earthquakes. And here comes another element that few understand. Children. Yes. The children being born now aren't the same. Their gazes, their questions, their sensitivity, their memory. Some remember things they never saw. Others reject norms without knowing why. Many feel they don't fit, yet they aren't broken. They're awake. They are ancient souls who have returned with a clear purpose to help awaken the rest. They are called indigo, crystal, rainbow. Modern names for an ancestral truth. They are guardians of change. They don't forget so easily. And they are here to bring light where the system only offers programming. But beware, because the system doesn't like what it can't control. And these children are uncontrollable. That's why they label them, diagnose them, prescribe them pills. They try to domesticate what they don't understand. But their soul remembers, and their presence is a sign that something much greater is being gestated. The awakening is no longer individual. It is happening at the collective level. Now listen carefully. Have you ever thought of someone and that person calls you? Or seen the same number repeat over and over in different places as if following you? Has it happened to you that just when you were about to give up, something or someone appears and gives you exactly the push you needed? These aren't coincidences. They are messages. The soul speaks in symbols, and one of its favorite languages is synchronicity. Carl Jung called them events with meaning, but without an apparent causal connection. But the sages of all traditions knew them long before. They were signs, winks from the universe to say, "You're on track. Remember, awaken." What you call coincidences are the way your spiritual plan peeks through the surface so you won't fall entirely asleep again. Because even though you forgot, the plan remains intact, waiting to be activated. And yet, there is a stage that comes for many, just before awakening. A feared stage, painful, dark, the dark night of the soul. It is not depression. It is not an existential crisis. It is the moment when everything you are not begins to collapse. The masks fall, internal lies are revealed, and you feel lost, confused, broken. But you are not dying. You are being reborn. The dark night of the soul is the passage every seeker crosses before remembering who they are. It is a desert without a map, a dark room where no one comes to rescue you. Because the rescue is you. The soul doesn't want you to be happy. It wants you to be free, and freedom arrives after the fire. Now look around you. Observe how the world teeters, systems collapsing, leaders falling, economies fracturing. Do you believe all of this is random? Number, it is part of the same process. The dark night is not only personal, it is also collective. The soul of humanity is in the process of remembering, and for that, it must first stop pretending. Everything not aligned with truth must disappear. That is why there is chaos, because the soul of the world is awakening, and it can no longer sustain any more lies. And now what? What do you do with all of this? Do you carry on as if nothing happened? Do you fall back asleep? Do you wait for something external to save you? Or do you decide to remember? Remember that you chose every step, that the soul inhabiting you knows why you are here, and that you didn't come to survive. You came to awaken. You knew it. Before you were born, you knew it. And now, you are remembering it. Nothing is more powerful than a soul that has remembered its purpose, because it no longer allows itself to be manipulated. It does not allow itself to be divided. It does not allow itself to be distracted. It lives, it feels, it loves, and it creates. Because it did not come to repeat the old world. It came to build a new one. If you've made it this far, it's not because you're seeking entertainment. It's because something inside you is ready. You knew it before arriving in this plane. You knew it before forgetting. And now, you are remembering it. Welcome back to your soul, to your path, to your truth. Because now you know, nothing in your life was a mistake. You were simply guiding yourself from the other side of the veil. And this is only the beginning. But wait, we're not finished yet. There is something more, something unspoken yet always present, a truth as ancient as your soul. What if I told you that at this very moment, while you listen to me, you are already activating that plan you wrote before being born? What if this video were not just another piece of content on the internet, but the trigger your soul had agreed to use to awaken you? Today? You're not imagining it. It's not coincidence. It's synchronicity. It's perfect. It's now. Because there comes a point on the path where everything aligns. The signs, the encounters, the decisions. Everything turns like invisible gears, and you realize you were never lost. You only needed to remember how to listen to yourself. You don't need to understand every word. Just allow your soul to absorb it. There are things that need no explanation, because they were understood long before you arrived here. Do you feel that lump in your throat? That faint vibration in your chest? It's your soul telling you, yes, this is it. Keep going. Maybe tomorrow you'll wake up and the world will be the same. But you won't be. Because once you see, you can no longer unsee. Once you remember, you can no longer fall completely asleep again. And from today on, every step you take, every choice, every intuition, will be a conscious part of that route you already chose before falling into oblivion. This is your true awakening. Not the trendy kind, not the empty phrase kind, but the one born in the depths of the soul that shakes your entire existence. Now you know you are not here to fit in, nor to conform. You are here to remember who you are and to live accordingly. And just before closing this journey, I want to propose something. Make a conscious act of commitment to yourself, but not for me, nor for the algorithm, but for that part of you that has been waiting for this moment across lifetimes. Go now to the comments and write this phrase. I chose this life before I was born. Write it, and let that sentence not stay there. Let it resonate. Let it anchor. Let it be the invisible tattoo of your return. And if you felt that this message touched something deep within you, subscribe. Not out of obligation. Do it because you know this channel is not just a channel. It is a meeting point for souls who remember. Here we don't seek followers. Here we seek awakeners. Now breathe, close your eyes for a moment, and listen to this with all your being. You are not alone. You never were. You never will be. Because you are the path, the traveler, the map, and the destination. See you at the exact point in time where your soul and mind cross again. And if you don't notice it, don't worry. That meeting, you also planned it before you were born.